Hi, I'm Rey Koslowski, the Director of the Masters of International Affairs program, and I'm here with Kyle McQuay, who's a second-year student in our International Affairs program, and Heather Senecal from the Center for International Development. Heather, you might be able to tell us a little bit about your position here.
Sure. Thank you, Ray. My name is Heather. I am an associate here at the Center for International Development, and I primarily work on two programs, one in Kenya and one in Haiti, and mostly in the field of monitoring and evaluation.
Oh, I am an intern here. I have been interning here since the beginning of my master's program, so a little over a year now. I've mostly been working with Heather on projects in Kenya, but I've been mostly doing my capstone this semester in Haiti.
Tell me a little bit about how the process worked that you started your internship.
Well, it's been a little over a year now that I've been interning here, which has been great because I've gotten to do a lot of different things while I'm here. But it started when I first applied for a job here. I didn't necessarily know to what extent the work that was being done here. But I was very interested, and I had a lot of conversations with you about what it was that I wanted to get into. Right. You and I had started talking about the Foreign Service. We had talked a lot about a lot of different things.
A lot of different things. Yeah.
And I remember talking to you about here in the internship, possibly of interning here. And so when I started thinking about applying here, I was like, well, development, that could definitely be something I could be interested in. Doesn't hurt to apply.
Right.
And just the conversation I had in my interview sold me on just the work that was being done here and the change that was being enacted. I thought it was definitely a great learning opportunity.
It's always nice for us to have students that they're interested, even if they don't have a ton of background in international development, because I know it's the type of thing where you need experience to get hired, but how do you get the experience, right? So it's always, for us, like, all you need is an interest in this field. We look for students that are passionate or interested in the development field, whether they've volunteered before or not, or have had a job or not. So it's just that kernel of interest, and then we're able to kind of figure out, based on other courses they've taken or other work they've done, like where they might best fit into our processes.
Gotcha.
And so I think that's generally how we work with students. And then the fact that they Kyle wanted to come back. He kept asking, can I come back next
There's a lot of me
semester?
asking.
Can I work on something else? Do you have another project for me to work on? I think that type of motivation to not just sit back and wait, but to say, oh, is there something else I can do? Generally shows us, like, okay, the student is motivated. We can give him a task, he'll do it. And if he has questions, he'll come back to us. He just won't let it linger. So those are
the qualities you demonstrate at both stages in the beginning, the inquisitiveness and I guess later on the stick-to-itness, if that's a word.
It started out, but as Kyle mentioned, I do a lot of monitoring and evaluation work here at the center, and at the time I brought back boxes from Kenya of data that needed to be coded and filed, and so Kyle helped me with that. And then we started researching data sources for future proposals and trying to come up with a data library, and so Kyle was very helpful in setting that up, and as well as finding those sources, and then it was almost like an annotated bibliography of what is in the source, what would you go there to find, how would you use it, so that other colleagues here at the center could have a very quick way of getting to data without having to do massive Google searches and things.
Definitely with working with her, particularly on the monitoring evaluation stuff with Kenya, when she had talked to me about this proposal of creating a kind of a knowledge management, knowledge sharing system for research for proposals, I was very interested in with it because just by working with her, I've seen the utility of learning a lot about monitoring evaluation for my career aspirations moving forward, and that's why I really kind of latched on to the project that she had kind of been tasked with.
For those of us who really we don't know that much about this business here, but when you're talking about monitoring and evaluation, I mean, what is that particular task, or how does it fit into the overall scope of what you do here?
Sure. So all of our programs, all of our awards focus on. There's an aspect of monitoring and evaluation. So essentially, what we're being tasked with by the donor is, we've told them we are going to achieve the following objectives or results, and then we develop a plan so that we can monitor. We have indicators so that we can monitor against those indicators towards achieving these results. And so a lot of times it's, developing data collection tools, and then when the data is coming in, being able to analyze it and feeding that back into the program so that there's learning going on, whether or not if you're on target to achieving your results or if you're behind schedule, whatever that schedule might be. Sometimes we find that one of the measures that we've decided to use for that result is not really sufficient, or it's not capturing all of the work that we're doing. So then it forces us to think through, like, well, how else should we be thinking about this? Okay. So it's very much, the monitoring is a learning tool.
But then this also eventually turned into an opportunity for a Capstone Project, which you're working on this semester. How did that work to move to the Capstone? I was just wondering how.
Well, Heather had been working on the Haiti project since really its inception, which is not just specific to the Center for National Development here.
Right.
It's a entire SUNY Global, if you will, project, and she had been a part of that before I had ever become any part of the conversation. And with the work that we had been doing together, she had started asking what my interests were specifically in development, the more that I was learning about how it works and the concentrations within development. And I had really grown an interest in water access development, which the Kenya project and a lot of the projects here focus on governance.
Right.
But she saw an opportunity with this Haiti project for that's something that could possibly be covered in this project. It's still in the early stages of the project. And I had been talking with everybody in the office about me doing my capstone here. And so I kind of been probing everybody on if there's opportunities that they could, foresee as utility for the office to me to do my capstone on. She saw an opportunity for me to do my capstone as something that I found an interest in while also getting a benefit to the work that you had been doing.
Great. I like the idea of the capstone, and I know that, for example, in Kenya we have two other partners, Urban Institute and Local Development Initiative, which is based out of NYU, and they are essentially thinking about the same idea, like what capstone programs can their graduate students be doing, and they want to send some students to Kenya, and so I think that if in grad school I was able to take part in an opportunity here through the center to work in the field, and I really do think it really added value to my education, and it helped me go from theory to practice, and then think about, okay, these are the things I've learned, how am I going to use this in the field?